What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. Today, I am talking about a special topic that's close to my heart because it's my journey. But we're going to talk about breaking the glass ceiling. So a journey to become a female CEO. So somebody that is in leadership and also a female and also a mother. So I want to share a little bit about the lessons that I've learned, some of the challenges that I've had to overcome, but ultimately the benefits and the valuable information that I've learned that I can share with you if you are looking to take that same pathway. So first and foremost, I want to share a little bit about my personal journey. If you have never heard, I'm going to share just a quick little snippet of my career and what I've done and how I've gotten to where I am today. So I graduated in 2010 from Western Michigan, and I graduated with a bachelor's in food marketing, specifically in the CPG industry. So I was looking to get a job in the CPG industry. So I landed my first job with the Kellogg Company, which was based out of Battle Creek, Michigan, where I grew up. I had an internship there throughout my junior and senior year. And so I was very fortunate to get a job before actually graduating. But I moved down to Naples, Florida. So it was a beautiful place to live, but it was my first time really ever leaving the nest because I went to college 30 minutes from home. I stayed very close to family. And it was a big move for me, but I was excited and I was ready to do it. And so I went down there and I was a sales person, basically. My title is escaping me, of course, right now, but I called on grocery stores and I sold Pop-Tarts, cereal, and Eggos. So the morning foods was the division that I was in. And I was there for about 18 months and got a quick promotion to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where I live now. And my job there was to work on the Delhaize team and they had 9 grocery chains at the time. And I was a sales analyst. So I supported the account executives and gave them lots of data around the customer that we supported to help them sell in more product. So I was on this path of the corporate climbing the ladder. You know, working at Kellogg's was a dream for me. It was a dream for my family. My grandfather had worked there. I, of course, got a salary and insurance and 401k and all the great benefits that come with a job like that. And so really my pathway was, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to be the one that wears the suit every day to work and dresses up and goes to the office and, a typical 9 to 5. And I'm going to continue to work as hard as I can and learn as much as I can to get me to that next promotion and that next promotion and that next promotion. So that was my path. That was my mindset. And then comes along a little thing called Burn Bootcamp. And, while I was working in Naples and also obviously promoted to Charlotte, Devan had, been released from baseball. He decided to be a personal trainer. He started a boot camp down in Naples. And when he moved to Charlotte, he said, okay, I don't want to work for anybody. I'm going to start my own business. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll see how this goes. Long story short, he starts Burn Bootcamp in a parking lot. And I, of course, am there as the supportive fiance to help him in the mornings and nighttime and weekends and as much as I could outside of my career and my job, right? I was still I'm a very independent woman. So I always have had my own path forward. I have always been someone who takes care of myself. And, obviously Devan and I have everything is 50-50 now, but before I kind of had a mindset that I'm on my path forward and I will find a way to always provide for myself. That's just how I was raised. Anyways, so, Burn Bootcamp became a huge part of my life. Like I said, I was helping Devan out build this business. And I was at this point in my, life where I was like, okay, am I going to do Kellogg's or am I going to take a risk and help Devan? Of course, Devan wanted my help. He wanted me to stop working. At that point, we had enough members to really start to see some income coming in. And, it felt good. It felt right. But it was still this huge risk that I took. I'm walking away from some security. I'm walking away from benefits. I'm walking away from 401k. Now I have to do all of that on my own. We have to go get private insurance. Lots of decisions are made when you go from, working for somebody to being your own business owner. But of course, after a lot of thoughts, a lot of conversations, a lot of prayer, I left my job at Kellogg's. I left that safety blanket and I started Burn Bootcamp with Devan. And the role that I played was obviously business owner, but also trainer. So I started to take a completely different role, nothing I went to college for, nothing I was really exposed to growing up and, starting your own career and building this business and this brand. So I had to learn a lot. I was taken out of my comfort zone several times in the early days, and I'm still taken out of my comfort zone the days that I'm in right now. But I learned so much about myself, right? And I've along the way learned that, taking a risk and a bet on yourself and the people that you love and the people that you believe in, it can be one of the most rewarding things, right? And it doesn't make it easy, but it makes it worth it because you're doing something that you love. You're doing something that you're passionate about. And so, I became a personal trainer basically overnight, and also was running payroll and cutting checks and paying landlords. And, Devan was kind of in the marketing side of things for our business, but I was the operational side of it. That is just how we work really well together. I'm very operational focused, high in details. He is not high in details. He's very visionary. He's creative. He's got that high energy. I'm high logic. So we really do complement each other because we're complete opposites. So in business, that has come to our advantage at times. Then I started to open my own gym. So I owned my own brick and mortar. It was the second location that we had in Burn Boot Camp. And I took even another role in the company, right? Where now I'm a landlord or a leasee. I'm holding this lease. I'm running the show myself. Devan had his own gym at that time. And I became a manager now, right? So I'm leading people, I'm scheduling people, I'm hiring people, I'm firing people. So, that's another role that I took under my belt that I didn't really know what I was doing until I got right into it, right? And that's the best experience that I've had, is just doing it. Then we opened 3 more gyms. So not only am I a gym owner to myself, I'm a gym owner to now 5 gyms. And now I'm managing people to represent my brand and Devan's brand in other locations. So we had 5 locations in the Charlotte area. And, all this to say, over the last 11 years, I have taken on different roles in the company. It's always been the operational focus of the company and building the systems and the processes that we need to scale ourselves, but also scale our business, right? And then in 2015, we decided to become a franchise, and I became a franchisor, another new role that I have never played, And so all this to say, along the way, I've faced my own set of challenges, and especially as a female, I could spend an hour on just talking about how in all of those different roles, being a male versus a female has changed the dynamics. I can tell you that people used to want to be trained by Devan and not me, right? So when we had our own gyms and stuff, we would kind of cross-train at each other's gyms, and they did not want a female. They wanted a male to train them. On the flip side of that, there's some people that only wanted a female to train them, and they didn't want a male to train them. So, I kind of early on started to recognize that some people gravitate towards me and some people are pushed away by me. And whether that's my issue or their issue, I don't know, but that's the experience that I had. And so I've always had this thing in the back of my head, even as a leader, even as somebody who is running a company, now as a mom, I always have this kind of doubt in my head of like, do they think I'm being abrasive, and do they think I'm a bitch, like that is all things that have gone through my head from early on, because I think that's just the stigma when there is somebody who is successful and powerful and leading, that, they must be terrible behind the scenes. And so we've embraced some of that dynamic of male and female. And I think for me, my best advice is like, continue to just be authentically you, and continue to lead the way that you would want to be led, and continue to behave and act exactly who you are, right? And the right people are going to be gravitated towards that. And the wrong people are going to be intimidated by that. They're going to be turned off by that, and they are not going to end up being around you very, very long. And so I think one of the biggest things that has been my challenge in leadership is truthfully being a mom as well, and trying to build a high-level career and a high-level business while also raising 3 children at home, because my family is my number one priority. And of course, having small kids and also a young business that's in its growth phase. So it's growing like crazy, and we're outgrowing processes, and we're having these new challenges pop up all the time. And that's probably been the hardest thing for me. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today. But that's my personal journey, my journey of starting at Kellogg's, thinking I'm going in one pathway, and then within 3 years completely doing a 180 and changing paths, and now becoming not just a gym owner, but a franchise owner. And I own 9 gyms now across the U.S. and, a couple different states. Our brand has over 350 doors open. And so along the way, there's been some lessons learned that hopefully I can share with you guys if you are listening to this and, wanting to take this this high-level pathway to a career in leadership as a female. So, I wholeheartedly, I've talked about this before, but I wholeheartedly believe that women bring so much value to the workplace, and women can do the best at their jobs when they show up for who they are and not try to bring in some sort of masculine power and energy into their leadership roles. And so I think it can be really easy because you think, okay, I'm a CEO, so maybe now I need to act a little bit more tougher, and I need to bring in this masculine energy, and I need to tell people off in a meeting, and all the things that you see on TV or you hear about in different CEOs. And I've just taken a different approach to that. I don't like being put in boxes. So that's why I don't like when people just assume that, they're high-level leadership, that must mean X, Y, and Z. I really believe in building your own pathway. And that really just starts with showing up for exactly who you are, constantly evolving, constantly growing and changing based on how you need to show up in different settings, but showing up for who you are. And so, again, going back to my first comment, I believe that women bring so much value to the workplace because of the empathy that they show, right? And so being a female CEO, it has strengths because I'm able to bring empathy into our workplace. I'm able to allow permission for vulnerability. I am able to nurture relationships and really lean into communication, because those are things that I think women naturally tend to carry. Is they communicate a lot better. They show emotion, right, a lot easier than most males do, because males, it's seen as a sign of weakness if there's any emotion or vulnerability into their job. And so for me, I have always tried to, even when I started as a trainer, I've always tried to be incredibly open and vulnerable, and that gives other people permission to be the same. And so that does not change in the workplace. If you're a leader and you lead people, or you lead companies, where you're the face of it, you have permission to act and behave and show up exactly how you would want somebody else to do it for you if the roles were reversed, right? Instead of like this stuffiness of like faking it. No one likes that. Like, no one wants to go to work and feel like they have to turn on a different side of them and then turn it back off to be at home, right? They want to be able to be as much of themselves at the workplace as they are at home. And that just starts with aligning with, your core values and what is the culture that you want to create in your company. And for me, it's vulnerability, it's authenticity, it's communication style, it's empathy, it's flexibility. Okay, flexibility. I am a mom of 3. So I've been able to successfully grow my career and successfully grow my family, and it's not easy. However, I am very honest about what comes first. And I want my employees to always know what comes first in their lives too. And it should not be their work. It should be their family, right? And I get this beautiful opportunity to integrate both. And I try to bring that to my office and to my culture too. I mean, we've got gyms that people bring their kids to it, right? Even employees are bringing their kids to the child watch during their shifts or coming when they work out. So that doesn't change at the headquarter level, right? I want my employees to always know that if they need to go watch their kids play a sport or something at school, like that has to come first. Obviously, you build your schedule around that, but that flexibility is very much welcomed because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to pick up and go, not miss things with I already miss things with my kids, right? Just due to the nature of my job, I have to travel. I have events that I have to put on. So yes, there's times that I don't get to see everything that I want to see. But when I can, I prioritize going to events and seeing my family and really showing by action. Putting your family first is always going to be the right thing. And so I think that I've been able to bring that to our workplace. Not that Devan didn't as our prior CEO, but I think males and females are different, right? We're more nurturing. We are the ones that, have most of the responsibilities as mothers and for our children. And I don't mean that to put any men down by any means, but, let's be honest, we carry that mental load of everything that has to happen with our family, but also that has to happen at the workplace. So, I've gone through so much. I've had 3 kids. I've had somewhat of a maternity leave with them. I've then breastfed them. So all while building a business and running a business and playing different roles. And so the more that I can allow that freedom and flexibility with the other people around me, because I understand it. I've been there. And I would have wanted someone, a mentor or a leader in my life to say, hey, you're doing a great job. Like, you have permission to prioritize this over that. So I just believe that women bring a lot of that value to the workplace. Also, we're multitaskers. Like I just said, we carry this mental load, and we're responsible for a lot of things and a lot of people in our families and also in our work. But we are some incredible multitaskers, and we're able to wear a lot of hats. I just mentioned, in a given day, I'm wearing a lot of different hats, not just in my business, but in my, my personal life as well. And so the ability to integrate as much of that is going to create fulfillment. And that's why, again, I'm very thankful that I have a business that my family gets to come in and be a part of. And we are a company that is for, women and their families. And so that is from the top down all the way. And that is what works for us. And the more we can invite that into our culture and we can lead with that way, the better we are going to attract that talent that's going to want to work at a place that does have those core values and that mission. So being a CEO has strengths, but obviously it comes with a lot of challenges. And you always have to prioritize what matters, right? And so I talked about that, my kids will always come first. My family will always come first, although there's sacrifices that I have to make. And guess what? When I'm sacrificing something for my family, I am still showing them, I'm still teaching them that there is sacrifice in life. Who do we know that gets to walk through life without any sacrifices for what they really want? And so there are moments that I'm sacrificing being with my kids or being with my family or getting, the rest that I need because I am building something that's bigger than me. I'm building something that is building legacy for my family, right? It always points to my North Star, which is my family and my legacy. But it's going to look different a lot. So you have to make sure you are prioritizing what matters, but kind of getting out of your own head sometimes with that guilt of, am I doing enough? Am I enough for everybody? And am I too much for certain people? Show up exactly how you are, because I'm telling you, it's going to attract the right people and it's going to make people want to be on your team. And I could not do any of this without the team that I have. So it's all about, if you're a high-level leader, we all know this. We're not doing it alone. We're doing it with an incredible team behind us. And so it all starts with you. If you want to advance in your career, it all starts with you. Stop blaming other people for not getting what you want. Check yourself, right? Check your attitude. Check the authenticity that you are bringing into the workplace. Check how you're communicating with people. How are you having empathy with people? That's who people want to work for. The real and listen, that doesn't mean that there's not hard conversations and challenging days and days that I'm frustrated and days that my team does need to see a different version of me where, I have to be the one that says hard things. I have to be the one that pushes them, when things aren't getting done and goals aren't being met. I have to do all of that stuff still. But you have to deposit the other stuff for the majority of the time. You better be putting those positive deposits in people's lives and your team's lives, because that's going to make them work through the hard days where there has to be the challenge. So that's how I have been able to do it. And guys, I am still learning every single day how to be a high-level leader and how to also be a great mom and a great wife and a great friend. And balance is another day, another topic, another podcast. But lean into the strengths that we have as women and don't feel like you need to fit into this box and don't feel like you need to carry the stigma of certain titles that you want to wear. It's all about what you want to make it. And at the end of the day, what's the legacy you're building? How do you want people to talk about how you impacted their lives? And for me, it's all those things that I talked about, right? I want them, whether they're working for me for years or just, a small part of the time, I want them to know that when they were in this office and when they were led by Morgan, that, communication was important, empathy was important, vulnerability was important, authenticity was important, hard work is important, and prioritizing what matters is important. That's where you get the most and the best out of the people around you. And that's how you get the most and the best out of you because you don't have to fake it when you go into the workplace. So that's my advice, guys. That just leaning into who you are, authenticity to get to where you want to go. It starts and stops with you. I cannot say that enough. It starts and stops with you. So take an audit today. Take an audit of, hey, how am I showing up in the workplace? How am I showing up with all the different hats that I'm wearing? And how am I allowing others to feel that comfort around me that makes them want to work a little bit harder because of the energy that I'm putting off? So thank you guys so much for listening to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. We'll talk to you later. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.